Hi guys, welcome to Scarvic Studio. My name is Sarah. In today's episode, I'm going to show you how to take care of your wool knitwear. If you've been buying synthetic knitwear your whole life, right now you decided, okay, I want to start moving towards more wool and cashmere and invest in quality, then you need to know how to take care of those sweaters. Taking care of wool, cashmere is completely different than taking care of synthetics. So in today's video, I'm going to teach you everything that you need to know so your sweaters will look beautiful for years and years to come. You might be even able to pass them to next generations, which awesome. I'm going to tell you what to do and what not to do. So make sure that you watch this video till the end because it is packed with information. By the way, if you're wondering, why am I in the closet? Well, there's so much noise outside that I think this is the quietest place in my house. But I'm gonna go and record somewhere else in a second. So don't worry, the whole video is not going to be in a closet. Later I'll jump back, but just for a second. So anyways, let's get into the video. Let's start with the biggest misconception that people have about taking care of wool and cashmere sweaters. A lot of people think that they are dry clean only, and I totally understand why. Oftentimes, when you look at the labels, you'll see the sign dry clean only, or you might see this letter P, and it also means dry clean only. I always recommend that you look at the care label of your garment because it will tell you how to take care of it the best. However, I think dry clean only is overused and it is not often necessary. When it comes to sweaters, I think it is way more beneficial if you actually do it yourself instead of taking it to dry cleaners. I actually understand why fashion companies like to put this on their labels, and it's because they know that dry cleaners will not ruin your sweater unless they're very incompetent. You, on the other hand, might if you don't know how to take care of the sweater properly. Wool and cashmere are animal fibers, and same as human hair, they are made out of keratin. And the same as human hair, wool needs special gentle treatment because it's a very delicate fiber. Think about it. If you use a lot of chemicals on your hair, you bleach it, you dry it and do all this stuff, over time your hair will get damaged. Obviously, with your hair, you can just cut it off and it will grow new healthy hair. Well, your sweater will not really do that. So if every time you want to wash your sweaters, you will take them to dry cleaners, over time, the harsh treatments, chemicals that they put in the dry cleaning solution, however they do it, it will damage the fibers more and more, and your sweater will keep looking worse and worse. Not immediately, but over time. That's why I think your sweaters will benefit so much more if you hand wash them at home. And don't worry, lazy people. Fun fact about wool is that it cleans itself because it has those antibacterial properties. And because of that, you don't have to wash your wool sweaters or cashmere sweaters more than once a year. Yes, I said it right, more than once a year. If you want to know more about this topic, I'm going to link down the video that I already recorded about all of this, so then you can know more in depth how this process works. So definitely go and check it out. If you want to refresh your sweaters, let's say you went to a restaurant or you smoke cigarettes and the sweater smells right now like the restaurant you just visited, or cigarette smell. If you want to get rid of the smell, take your sweater outside and leave it there for like an hour. Let the air flow through it. And like I said, make sure that it's a shaded area. And after that, your sweater will look like new, and trust me, there won't be any bad smell. If you don't want to take it outside, you can also just leave it at home for a day or two, and your sweater should get rid of the smell over time. It's not the same as synthetics. Fibers like wool are completely different than synthetics. So if you're somebody who is used to acrylic sweaters or sweaters that are blend of like acrylic, nylon, polyester, and all that other stuff, yes, those sweaters will hold the smell inside of them. So you have to wash them. Wool, you don't have to worry about that. So that's how you refresh your sweaters. Like I said, I like to wash my sweaters once a year, and usually at the end of winter, the beginning of spring, so right now. And I like to do it before I store them away for another season. This helps prevent a few things like moths, for instance. If you don't know what moths are, they are those little tiny insects that love to eat wool. If you want to make sure that moths will not eat your sweaters, you have to make sure that they are clean before you store them. And there are a few more things that you can do, which I'm going to talk about at the end of the video. But yeah, just keeping them clean prevents moths, prevents odors, unwanted moisture and dirt buildup. So all that stuff. That's why this is very important. I'm going to show you right now how to properly wash your sweaters. So you have two options. First one is washing machine. Yes, you can actually wash them in a washing machine, just don't use dryer, or you can hand wash them. And honestly, I use both. It depends on the sweater. If I really, really care about the sweater and it was an expensive sweater, yes, I'm gonna hand wash it because I'm paranoid. But if you put it in a washing machine on the right settings, your sweater should be fine. Especially if the care label says you can wash in a washing machine, trust me, your sweater will be absolutely fine. You just have to make sure that you use right settings. If your washing machine has wool settings, awesome, you can just press that and it should be fine. But if not, you can use gentle cycle or delicate cycle. Usually it means that water will be below 40 degrees Celsius, which that is what we want. You can also make it tap cold if you want. That might be okay. However, I do prefer to just leave it at that 30, 40 degrees Celsius personally. You can also change settings to no spin if you like. Again, it's up to you. And make sure that you use gentle detergent. You can just buy one and use it for your washing machine and also use it for when you hand wash your garments. Or you can buy different ones. It's up to you. Here are two that I recommend. One, it's very affordable and you can buy it everywhere. And the other one, you have to order it online and it's amazing. I actually really love it. This detergent has lavender smell, which moths hate. That's what we want because we don't want moths anywhere near the sweaters. And also it has added lanolin, which protects the sweater and just makes it look beautiful. And on top of this detergent doesn't require rinsing. So you don't have to rinse it, which I love. So I absolutely recommend this. But Woolite is also very, very good. So whichever one you want, there are plenty available online. There are some other brands. Just pick whichever one you like. They're all going to be fine. And fun fact, you also can use baby shampoo because, like I said, wool is like hair. It's very delicate. So baby shampoo will also do a great job. And if you want to be extra careful with washing machine, I would recommend that you get this. This is a mesh bag. It will protect your sweater even more. So the correct way is to turn your sweater left side out and then put it in a mesh bag. Remember to wash sweaters that are similar colors. So light colors together, bright colors together, dark colors together. So remember about that. Washing your sweaters in a washing machine will not ruin your sweaters, but something that can ruin your sweater forever is if you put it in a dryer. Sweaters or wool and cashmere hate heat. They hate heat. So if you put your sweater in a dryer, it will shrink 7-8 sizes. So how do you dry your sweaters? So what I recommend is that you dry your sweaters flat after washing, and I'm going to show you later how to do it. All right, let's go to the second method that I think a lot of you are very interested in, which is hand washing. So the first thing that I like to do is measure my sweater in width, length, and also length of the sleeve in case I need to reshape it later. Then I grab my wash basin and fill it up with lukewarm water. Then I add wool detergent. This one is my favorite at the moment because it doesn't require rinsing. Then I immerse my sweater in water. I'm very gentle when I do it and I massage it gently only for a few seconds. And then I leave it to soak for about 15 minutes. In this case, I went a little longer. This sweater has been soaking for about 25 minutes. Normally, you're supposed to leave it for 15 or more. Because this sweater was very dirty, I decided to soak it a little bit longer. So I'm going to take it out in a second. And fun fact about this detergent is that you don't have to rinse it. So sometimes with other detergents, you will have to rinse it with water. With this one, you don't, which is amazing. This smells like lavender and I love it because moths hate lavender. And this detergent also has some lanolin, which is amazing for the sweaters. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to take it out and show you how to dry it. Then I take my sweater out of the water and I squeeze it gently. Make sure that your sweater doesn't stretch because it is very delicate right now. So it's very prone to stretching. So just support it really well when you take it out of the water. As you can see, my water is very dirty. All right, now I'm going to show you how to remove excess water from your sweater. You essentially have to do this, what I'm doing right now. So just roll your sweater in the towel and gently squeeze it, and that will get rid of the rest of the water that is still in your sweater. I placed a fresh towel underneath my sweater, and now it's the best time to measure it again to see if the sweater needs reshaping. So if your sweater is too long, stretch it this way, and if your sweater is too short, stretch it lengthwise. And the same with the sleeve, too long this way, and too short the opposite, which is lengthwise. And now just leave your sweater for about 24 hours in a shaded area and flat dry it just like this. It's been 24 hours and the sweater is fully dried. I have to say that all of the stains are gone. This detergent did such a good job. And if you guys remember, I literally just massaged it gently for a few seconds and I let it soak in water for over 20 minutes to remove all of the stains because like I said, this sweater was very, very dirty and it looks really good. Now the next step for me is to de-pill it, and I'm going to use this fabric shaver for it. You just turn it on and it removes all of the pilling and lint. So I'm going to quickly do it and then I'll fold it and put it away for another few months till next season. I measured the sweater to see if it shrinked or not, and it didn't, but obviously I wanted to try it on just to make sure, and it didn't, which is great. So the method worked. It's fully de-pilled and ready to be stored for the next season. Welcome to my tiny closet. I'm going to show you right now how to store your knitwear so it can last and look really good the next season. Those are my sweaters. I only have two right now. No, I have a lot, but most of them I moved to another room because I'm in the middle of building my new dresser. It's an IKEA dresser, so I wasn't able to finish it by the time of recording this video. Unfortunately, I encountered some hurdles along the way, but that is something that often happens with IKEA furniture. If you know, you know. So this is what I'm working with. So the best way to store your sweaters is to fold them just like this. I don't recommend hanging them on a hanger because that can change their shape over time, especially if you store them for like 9 months for another season. It definitely will not work. You can buy those puffy hangers. They're puffy and they're covered usually with silk, and those are good for sweaters, but in general, it is not recommended to hang your knitwear. So fold them, do not hang them. And one more thing that I recommend if you don't want moths anywhere near your sweater, I recommend that you invest in cedar blocks or pouches with lavender and leave them somewhere in your dresser or in your closet. Moths don't like cedar wood. They also don't like lavender. So getting those blocks or little bowls, pouches, all that kind of stuff, it's really good. And just placing them somewhere near your sweater so it can protect your sweaters from any of those insects that can damage them over time. So that's something that I would actually recommend that you get. And one more thing, make sure that you check on your sweaters throughout the year, see how they're doing, make sure that there's no moisture buildup. If you have those anti-moth pouches, check if you need to change them and get new ones. Also check on your cedar blocks. You might need to shave them to release the cedar smell again. And that's about it. That's how simple storing your sweater is. Again, if you don't have a dresser, you can store them like this. I always recommend the dresser, but it is what it is. We all work with what we got. Okay, so just to summarize everything, I'm going to quickly name some things that can ruin your sweater. So just remember not to do them. First thing is don't put your sweater in a dryer ever because your sweater will felt and it will shrink many sizes. It will be unwearable forever. There's nothing that you can do with it. No, you cannot just stretch it. If any TikTok video will tell you that you can stretch it or something, no. Your sweater, your wool fiber is ruined forever. So never ever put it in the dryer. Avoid any type of heat to dry your sweater. So don't put them on the radiators. Don't put them on your heated floor. If you have a heated floor and you want to flat dry your sweater, I actually ruined one of my sweaters like this. So I put them on a floor, and one of them was very close to the heater because I have heat coming from the floor, and that sweater shrunk a few sizes, so it is unwearable right now. And I was shocked. I didn't know what happened because I was like, wait, all of my sweaters are fine except this one. And I just didn't realize that I put the towel on the heater. Anyways, that was me, brain fog. So make sure not to leave your sweaters to dry on a radiator, heated floor, any source of heat. Third thing is avoid direct sunlight, because if you put it in direct sunlight, your sweater will change color. Number 4, don't hang your wet sweaters on a hanger. They will stretch out, they will lose their shape, and never do this. Always dry them flat. 5, don't use harsh detergents and don't use bleach on your sweaters ever. It will ruin your sweater over time, or honestly, bleach might ruin it immediately, so don't do it. The last one to remember is to never ever use fabric softener on your sweaters. Again, they will felt over time, which is like shrink more and more and more. It's absolutely not necessary. Even if somebody tells you that you can do it, just don't. So yeah, I think those are all of the no-nos when it comes to sweaters. All right, so that's it for today. I hope this video was useful. And if you're somebody who have never owned any wool and cashmere sweaters, trust me, all the advice, if you follow it, your sweaters will last forever, and you might even be able to pass them to next generations. And if you're somebody who's been buying those kind of sweaters for a long time, then maybe share your tips, because I think some of you might have some tips, and tell me what you do, because some people say they never hand wash their sweaters and they always use a washing machine. Some people say that they never use a washing machine. I mean, opinions are different. So obviously share your opinions down below, and I'll see you guys next week in another video. Subscribe if you like, that would be very good. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.